Welcome back to the deep dive. So if you've ever worked in, any kind of organized dev environment, you know that keeping track of every single task is, well, it's a huge chore.
It's monumental.
Right. We've talked before about the basic building blocks in GitLab, the project, where the code is, and the group, which is sort of the umbrella over it all. But today, we're zooming out. We're going to look at the one feature that takes that whole structure and makes it truly strategic. We're talking about epics.
Exactly. And if you want to understand how these huge companies manage goals that span months or even quarters, you have to get your head around the epic architecture.
It's like you said before we started, it's the difference between looking at a pile of bricks.
And seeing the blueprint for the entire skyscraper. Yeah.
Yeah, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Our mission today is to go beyond just the simple definitions. We really want to drill down into the why behind the rules, the architectural reasons that make epics so powerful.
We want to make sure you walk away knowing not just what an epic is, but more importantly, where it has to live and what that enables.
So let's start with the scale. Let's set the baseline.
Okay, so the smallest unit of work we track is an issue. It's granular, it's tactical. Think refactor this one database query.
Or add error handling to the checkout form.
Perfect. A single task, usually for one person. An epic, on the other hand, is the strategic container. It's the big goal, like launch international beta program.
Or a 3-month initiative to improve site reliability by 50%. One's microscopic, the other's macroscopic. That makes sense.
Right.
But, looking through the source material, there's one technical thing about epics that seems to trip everyone up. It's all about where they live.
This is it. This is the absolute core concept. You really can't master epics until you understand this constraint. It's the gatekeeper to the whole strategic oversight thing.
So lay it out for us. Give us the exam question version that the material really hammers home.
Simple rule. Issues live only in projects. They are tied to one single repository code, docs, whatever.
Okay.
Epics, however, must live in groups. They cannot be created inside a project. Full stop.
And that's the sticking point, isn't it? Why the restriction? I mean, if I'm building a huge new feature for my main app for Project Alpha, why can't I just create the epic for it right there inside Project Alpha?
It really comes down to a fundamental truth about how modern software gets built, especially at any kind of scale.
You mean it's rarely just one single project?
Almost never. I mean, maybe if you're a solo developer on a hobby project, sure. But for any real business goal, you're always working across multiple silos.
Okay, let's dig into that. Give us a real scenario from the research.
Let's use their example. The big strategic epic is implement subscription tiers 2.0, major initiative.
Right.
When you start breaking that down into the actual tasks, the issues, you quickly realize they don't all belong in one place.
I can already picture. You need front-end changes, you need back-end API work, probably documentation update.
Exactly. So you've got Project 1, that's your mobile app UI code. You've got Project 2, that's your back-end payment API. And then Project 3 is your customer help docs.
3 totally separate repos, all living under one big group.
Now imagine for a second you ignored the rule. You create that subscription tiers, epic inside Project 1, the mobile app repo.
Yeah.
You start making issues for the mobile app, you link them up, works great. But now you go over to Project 2 to create the API tasks.
And the epic in Project 1 can't see them.
It has no idea they exist. It can't link to or track issues that live in a parallel project.
So your epic is immediately broken, it's incomplete, it's only showing a fraction of the work, and management has this massive blind spot.
That's the failure mode. It completely defeats the purpose of the epic, which is to give you that single, comprehensive view of a goal, no matter how many teams or repos it touches.
What's fascinating here is the rule isn't an inconvenience, it's the solution. By forcing the epic to live at the group level, it kind of floats above the individual project.
It does. It sits strategically above them. From the group level, it can look down and see into Project 1, Project 2, and Project 3 all at the same time.
It gets that cross-functional visibility.
It gets that omniscient view, allowing it to pull in issues from anywhere underneath it into one single coherent timeline. That's how you track work that spans multiple teams.
So it's not an arbitrary rule, it's the structural key for cross-project tracking. The epic becomes the manager overlooking the whole department, not just a note stuck on one person's desk.
That's a perfect analogy. And once you have that manager in place at the group level, that opens up the second really critical idea, which is hierarchy.
You mean epics inside of other epics, what the sources call child epics?
Yes. If putting them at the group level solves the breadth problem seeing across projects, Then hierarchy solves the depth problem.
The problem of breaking down these massive multi-year goals into something you can actually manage.
Exactly. Instead of trying to link a giant goal directly to 1,000 tiny tasks, which is just chaos,
I've seen that happen. It's a nightmare.
it's unmanageable. The hierarchy forces you to break things down logically. You start with a huge goal, like, say, achieve 50% market share by 2028.
Okay, you can't manage that directly.
No way. So that's your top-level epic. Underneath that, you create child epics for major phases, maybe phase 1, 2025 foundation work.
And inside that one?
You could have another layer for quarterly initiatives, Q1 infrastructure stability.
So we're already 3 layers deep, and we haven't even gotten to an actual engineering task yet.
Right. And then, only under that Q1 epic do you finally create the more manageable epics like migrate legacy databases. And that's what you link the individual issues to.
You know, the beauty of that, which the material points out, is the traceability. If one tiny issue gets delayed, you can trace that impact 4 levels up and see instantly which massive strategic goal is at risk.
It makes everything accountable. It stops that situation where an engineer finishes a task and management has no clue how it contributed to the big picture.
Yeah.
Every piece of work is a strategic parent.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. This is the part that makes project managers just breathe a sigh of relief. The automation, specifically the inheritance of dates.
Ah, yes. The dynamic roadmap. This is a game changer. I mean, before this, project managers spent hours, literally hours every week, just updating spreadsheets.
Oh, I know those days. An engineer realizes a task is harder than they thought. They push their issue's due date out by 2 days.
And then the PM has to manually find every parent task, every related initiative, and update all the dates in some external Gantt chart to reflect that one little slip.
It's a full-time job just keeping the data in sync.
And that manual work is just gone. It's eliminated. Because the epic is tracking all of its children, whether they're other epics or issues, it can automatically figure out its own start and end dates.
How does that actually work? What are the mechanics?
It's super straightforward. An epic start date is just the earliest start date of anything linked underneath it, and its due date is the latest due date of anything linked underneath it.
So if a new task gets added at the very beginning that pushes the start date back a week, the whole epic start date shifts automatically.
Exactly. And if that one really hard task at the very end gets delayed, the whole epic's due date moves with it instantly.
You get a living, breathing roadmap. And that is so valuable for talking to stakeholders. They don't care about the tiny details of which issue moved. They just want to know, are we still hitting the Q1 launch?
And the epic gives them that single source of truth, updated in real time based on what's actually happening on the ground.
It's always the current state of work, not the status from 2 days ago. It means those conversations are based on real data, not guesswork.
It forces a certain honesty into the planning, too. You can't really hide a delay in one component because the second that bottom task moves, the top-level roadmap reflects it for everyone to see.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So that strategic visibility is clearly the whole point. But before we wrap up, we have to talk about the practical gotcha for anyone listening. Is this amazing functionality available to everyone?
This is such a crucial point. Functionality like this, the cross-project tracking, the hierarchy, the dynamic dates, this is powerful stuff for large organizations.
So it's not in the free version?
It's not. Epics are typically a premium or ultimate feature in GitLab's plans.
So let's be super clear. If you're on a free plan right now and you're looking in your group sidebar for that Epics tab,
you're not going to find it, and that's by design.
And it's important to know that so you don't think you're doing something wrong.
Absolutely. If you're studying this for a certification, you need to know the concept. But in practice, you need the right license. Don't panic if the button is missing. It's a feature lock.
That's vital knowledge. It frames this whole feature as something really designed for organizations that are scaling up and need that serious level of oversight.
Which brings it all back to the core lesson, right? The source material is really clear on this. You have to integrate these ideas. Epics track goals across multiple projects.
From the group level.
Using hierarchy and dynamic dates to give you a living, high-level roadmap.
A really focused, necessary deep dive.
Oh.
Okay, so what does this all mean for someone listening? What's the big takeaway?
I think it means we've really uncovered the foundation of strategic planning inside GitLab. The system, by forcing the structure of location and hierarchy, it basically ensures that your organization has to define the strategy before the tactical work begins.
It's strategy-first planning.
It is. Every task has to justify why it exists by linking up to a bigger objective. It architects the business plan right into the tool you're using to build the product. It's the difference between just managing a list of tasks and actually managing outcomes.
Absolutely. Okay, so here's a final thought for you to chew on. How might this group-level oversight model change how departments that don't share code coordinate their work? Think about engineering, marketing, and legal.
Mm.
A product launch needs legal review, it needs marketing copy, and it needs the API deployed. Could a single group-level epic be the one place that tracks all three of those totally different work streams, even if they never touch the same repository?
Using a dev tool to run the entire business roadmap. That's the power of the architecture we've just been talking about.
Exactly. Thanks for diving deep with us today. We'll catch you next time.